Colorado. Denver, Stapleton Airport, July 19th, 1989. Known as the gateway to the Rockies, Denver is the starting point for journeys all over the U.S. 1,300 planes take off from here every day, carrying over 75,000 passengers. It's the peak of the summer season, and Stapleton is packed with vacationers and business travelers. Debbie McKelvey will be among the vacationers flying from Stapleton today. She's taking her children, Devon, age 6, and her son Ryan, who's 7, to a family reunion back in her home state of Pennsylvania.
I was going home for 2 weeks with my children, and I was very, very excited about the trip.
Debbie is taking advantage of United Airlines Children's Day promotion. Today, kids under 14 can fly for 1 cent, but each must fly with a paying adult. Debbie pairs up with a tennis club girlfriend, Ruth Ness, so she can sit with one of the kids.
It was nice having Ruth with me because she entertained one child while I was entertaining the other child.
1:15 p.m. Debbie, Ruth, and the kids wait to board flight UA 232 to Philadelphia via Chicago. Commanding the flight is Captain Alfred C. Haynes. His cabin staff reported a minor electrical fault in the galley on the previous leg, but engineers have given it the all clear. Captain Haynes is a veteran pilot with 7,190 hours logged in the DC-10. The passengers will be in safe hands today.
The DC-10 is a great airplane to fly. I think I was termed an old man's airplane because it's so simple to fly.
At this time, in the late 1980s, there are over 400 DC-10s in service. But it's a plane with a troubled history. Windsor, Ontario, 1972. A cargo door blows out on a year-old DC-10, causing severe decompression. The pilots managed to land the plane safely. 2 years later, a door comes off a Turkish Airlines DC-10 flying out of Paris. This time, the violent decompression tears the plane apart in midair. All 346 people on board die. McDonnell Douglas finds the fault and fixes it. But the reputation of the DC-10 never fully recovers. The DC-10 making flight 232 today is in its 17th year of service and has flown over 43,000 hours. So far, without incident. Today should be no different. Jerry Schemmel is Deputy Commissioner of the Continental Basketball Association and a frequent flyer.
I was never a nervous flyer. I always kind of enjoyed flying. I took my first flight at age 18. I always enjoyed it.
Jerry is flying to Columbus on business with his boss and great friend, Jay Ramsdell. Their original flight is cancelled, but Jay gets a seat on the very next flight. The bad news is there's no seat for Jerry. Jay decides to stay with his buddy and wait for an even later plane.
I didn't think much of it at that time. I thought it was a nice gesture. I thought to myself, I hope I would have done the same thing.
Finally, after a 6.5-hour wait, Jerry and Jay both get seats on flight UA 232 to Philadelphia. Flight 232 is busy today. It's carrying 285 passengers and 11 crew. Debbie McKelvey boards with her friend and 2 kids. They add to an unusually high number of children on board. 52 in total, thanks to the Children's Day deal. For senior flight attendant Jan Brown Law, lots of children on board means a busy flight ahead. After a 4-day trip, Jan is excited to be heading home to Chicago.
I just remember feeling just the energy of this last leg and getting all pumped up to do the service.
Captain Haynes, co-pilot Bill Records, and flight engineer Dudley Dvorak run through their pre-flight checks. They taxi out to the runway and await the takeoff clearance. At 2:09 p.m., the three-engine jet flies out of Denver.
The morning we left Denver, it was clear skies, beautiful day, nice smooth air, comfortable flight, just a routine flight.
Debbie McKelvey sits with her son Ryan, while her friend Ruth is one row behind, looking after her daughter Devon. At 3:16 p.m., they're finishing their meal. Suddenly, out of the blue, a terrifying blast rips through the plane.
The first thing I thought was a bomb has gone off. I really did. I thought someone had planted a bomb, it had been detonated, and we started to drop.
The only way I can think to explain it, it's like if you're driving down a highway and you hit a pothole.
Jan Brown Law fears it may be a breach in the plane's fuselage.
I instinctively sat down on the floor and held on, not knowing if it were a decompression, that everything that isn't tied down securely is going to be sucked out.
There's no sign of any visible damage inside the plane. But up in the cockpit, Captain Haynes scans the engine instruments and quickly realizes that his number 2 engine is malfunctioning.
I've never had a jet engine fail in flight. Only in the flight simulator, never in flight.
But this time, it's happening for real. 3:17 p.m. Captain Haynes' priority is to shut down the problem engine. He's not too worried. The DC-10 can fly comfortably on its remaining 2 wing-mounted engines. Haynes follows the shutdown procedure and cuts off fuel and power to the number 2 engine. The problem engine is off. But now flight engineer Dudley Dvorak spots something else wrong.
Al, we've lost all hydraulic quantity.
His instruments tell him that all 3 of the plane's hydraulic systems are empty. He cannot believe his eyes. The hydraulic systems operate the plane's flaps, ailerons, rudder, and elevator. Without these controls, the pilots won't be able to steer the plane or take it up or down. But the instruments are right.
Al, can you help me out with this?
Co-pilot Bill Records is horrified to find his flight controls are no longer responding.
We've got the right one down.
The plane starts to bank steeply to the right, and he's powerless to stop it.
That's when we realized we were in a world of hurt, that something was drastically wrong.
Now Captain Haynes tries the flight controls, but he cannot get the DC-10 back into level flight either. The plane is now trying to roll over, a terrifying prospect.
We have nothing to turn the airplane, nothing to control the pitch of the aircraft. Nothing.
Fly the aircraft. Nothing.
It's every pilot's nightmare. Flight 232 is at 11,000 meters and out of control. If its left wing continues to lift, the plane will flip over and tumble to its doom. United Airlines Flight 232 is down to 2 engines. Worse still, the plane has lost all conventional flight controls. Despite everything that Captain Haynes tries, the plane seems bent on turning over. Back in the cabin, the passengers feel the plane banking steeply.
Now, my son at 7½, he had always been a people watcher. And he looked around and he said, something's not right here.
You could feel the turn. You could feel the sensation physically of your body leaning off to the right side. I remember feeling that and thinking that was very unusual.
3:18 p.m. The left wing is so high that the plane is in an extremely steep bank. Al Haynes knows that within a few more seconds, it will roll over and tumble out of control. There is just one old aviator's trick left to him. If it fails, Flight 232 is doomed.
The first reaction was to just close one throttle and push the other one up, see if maybe that would help.
In a desperate bid to restore level flight, Haynes tries adjusting the relative power of the two wing engines. If the right engine runs faster, the airplane will bank left, and vice versa. It works. Captain Haynes is able to pull the plane out of its roll. He still has no flight controls, but he regains a crude form of steering by using the throttles. But Haynes finds that he can only make right-hand turns. 3:20 p.m. Co-pilot Bill Records radios Minneapolis Air Route Traffic Control Center.
232 heavy. We've shut down engine.
He reports the loss of flight controls and requests a flight path to the nearest airport. The pilots have no idea how they're going to land the crippled plane.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain. We've shut down the number 2 engine.
Now Captain Haynes tells passengers that one engine has failed, but he doesn't mention the loss of flight controls.
Chicago, but we may be just a
Not all